My career sucks.
Sex just isn't the same.
What's my purpose?
Where did this fat come from?
My relationship is killing me.
I'll never be happy.
My debt is piling up. I'll never find love. Why can't I be like other gay guys? Hey guys, it's time to get a grip, stop whining, make a bold move, and do something amazing with your 40-plus gay life. Let's get to the show with your Tell It Like It Is host, Rick Clemons, who does his best to never act like a dick or a diva unless you act like one first.
Hey guys, it's time for another episode of 40 Plus Gay Men Gay Talk. And let me tell you something, gay or straight, we men sometimes have the hardest time getting in relationship with ourselves, with others, our calling, our passion, our purposes. And I know there's a pathway forward because we've all lived and breathed it. But I want you to really listen here. If you're that guy right now who's like, oh, I look good on paper, but ... Or you find yourself going, oh my God, I'm performing to be some version of myself that I'm really not on the daily. Or maybe you just feel like, oh my God, my relationships, they never work. I try, whether it's intimate, whether it's work related, whether it's friendships, there's something missing, which is probably the key. You know, something's just not right. Well, it's time to quit negotiating your life around that stuff and start living like you mean it. And I have a guest today who reached out to me after hearing a fellow podcaster on my podcast. And I'm like, okay, here's another bald straight guy wanting to chat with me. I don't know what's up with me suddenly attracting the straight guys, but I'm so excited to be bringing to you a guy by the name of Mike Elliott. He is I'm going to just say he's a guy's mentor. We're not going to go too deep into the titles right now. I'm going to let him bring his whole relational authority stuff into play. But we connected about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I gave him the hard time. Like, I don't know, man, if you're fit. And he reined me in. And it probably was because we got the bald, both of us, got the bald power going on. Those of you seeing us on YouTube. But I'm really excited that Mike is here. I want you to open your eyes. Just because these straight guys don't go, I don't want to talk to another straight guy, because, hey, you've had a few others. You're going to be really glad you listened to this conversation today. So Mike, Mr. Mike Elliott, welcome to my podcast and my world, buddy.
Wow, what a welcome, Rick. Yeah, such a pleasure to be here. I loved our pre-call to really suss out the alignment of this, and I'm just excited where this conversation goes.
And guys, I'm telling you, I worked him like a bad hookup. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if we're a fit bud. I don't know. You're kind of cute, but I don't know if you're the guy that I want to be putting in front of my guys, because my guys are pretty discerning. Like, okay, why do we have a straight guy talking to us? Yeah. One of the things that you said, Mike, though, was I believe every man has the same challenges. And that was when the hook started to pull me in, because I may be bald, but I am surely not stupid. So let's kind of dive in. You kind of had your own callings into this space. And what brought you into wanting to do this work, especially with men? And now you're doing this with your wife, with couples. What was the hook that started drawing you in? It's probably some big badass bombed out story, but I'll let you tell that story.
Yeah. First of all, before going into any big story, it's because I have been the biggest fuck up in this area of relationship. I have messed up so many relationships. I have lived with so much confusion and chaos inside of me. And it wasn't from a lack of trying, but I just couldn't keep relationship long-standing or thriving. And there's not a person that I've met that doesn't want a thriving relationship, because I think all of us intuitively know if our closest relationships are thriving, every other area of our life will thrive.
Absolutely.
Because we're these biological beings that are meant to be bonded. And when we then have more creativity and safety and all the things. I messed up so many damn times that I had to figure out how to do this realm of relationship. It was because it was the work I needed the most. And then, like most people, doing it and learning and being that student and grinding and overcoming all of my own challenges eventually I hit this place of, whoa, wait a minute, life feels really damn good. And oh, relationship is actually enjoyable. What?
Mm.
And then it hit this place of just inspiration of I want to give from the overflow. I want to guide other people through that same terrain that I had to crawl through. And that's what got me into the work. You know, it was, I could go into this story if you want to hear it, but there was a reckoning. There was something that brought me down to my knees where I had to wake up.
Mhm. Well, I think for most of us as humans, but especially, I think there's a special space in us as men because we're so conditioned, like, don't let them see your emotions, don't let them see you sweat, you know,
Oh.
we're, oh, let's pound our chest, let's. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with masculinity, okay? There's some pretty damn masculine guys. I'm like, really, you're queer? That you don't look at, man. But there's where the stereotypes come in too. But I think there's this piece of us in our masculine DNA that oftentimes is that moment, and it can be a situation. Mine was my coming out, but then a few years later, Mike, it wasn't just the coming out. It was like, I don't really like my career either. let's have that moment, and it brought me to my knees.
Mhm.
I think in those moments, as you just so beautifully said, it's when we are brought to the knees and we have that reckoning.
Mhm.
It's what we do in that reckoning that is what counts because it sets the tone. So as you had that reckoning and you started to realize, here's a new way forward, what were some of your key learnings for you that said, okay, this is starting to feel right, and this is the direction I really want to go?
Yeah, before I speak to the insights for it to even make sense, maybe I'll go into a bit of the story that was the reckoning. Because for me, for context, you know, I was adopted twice in the first year of my life, which created a lasting imprint. So I'm going to share a little bit of certain terminologies that I didn't have awareness to, you know, until, you know, my mid 30s. This is something really important to understand. Every single one of us has experiences where we are imprinted in the way that we experience life. Every one of us came into the world 100% dependent. Now, if we were cared for really well, the imprint is enjoyable and we're held in really attuned ways. And then over time, we'll stay connected to our God given gifts because of how we're met, how we feel related with from the outside. And then that leads to healthy development. That leads to people who really know who they are, can communicate boundaries, and easily attract success and opportunities. That's if we were held really well. Now, if we didn't get held really well, we get a gnarly imprint, which plays out patterns that, if you're tuning into this podcast, my sense is you may be familiar with those patterns of attracting a certain type of person, certain dynamics, and that's so frustrating and it creates lots of pain and struggle and anguish. That was my version. Separated from my mother, day one of me being born, being birthed from a woman, God bless her, like she gave me life, but she was a drug addict, crack, heroin. She was raped and abused from the early age of 14 on. A lot of trauma. That's how I entered into the world. So you can imagine the imprint of my experience of life, the not enough, something's wrong with me, like really deep beliefs that really impacted my experience of life. I felt lots of insecurity. I felt weak. Um, Lots of like, I'm a monster. What's wrong with me? And I didn't know this. I didn't know this while I was growing up, but it impacted my experience of life. Led to me doing a lot of drugs. I ended up being a drug dealer, a debt collector. I went down a dark path, kicked out of my house in the day of grad. And I seemed to just keep attracting amazing women, but I couldn't keep them. I would either leave the relationship, which I think a lot of people can relate with, and find your version here.
Yep.
I had the version where I'd attract amazing love and it would scare the hell out of me, and then I'd get out really quickly before I got hurt. And then there was the version of, okay, attract the relationship, but now I'm bitter in it. Now I'm avoiding. And I eventually ended up attracting this woman, and on paper, it looked great. You know, beautiful woman. We ended up getting married. We were together for 7 years. And at the beginning, it was so good, like fireworks good. Like
Yep.
people were annoyed by our relationship and being around us. People used to say things like, "Oh, you're gonna give me diabetes. You guys are so sweet." Like, and it started off amazing, and then it slowly diminished and got flat. It wasn't as enjoyable. I started to get depressed, and then so I did what most men do. And this is, I think, what a lot of men can relate to because we function from logic. We're very intellectual. I started reading all the books, doubled
Yep.
down on personal development, listening to all the podcasts, and I got more informed. And what was so confusing is I started to feel more and more fucked up. It didn't bring me into feeling more liberated and happy. And it was so defeating. And so I started to self-soothe with pornography, with pot, scrolling Netflix. And then 7 years into the relationship, then something happened. My wife walked in the door and I was scrolling through Netflix and I made some passive aggressive comment. And she looked at me and she just said, "I'm done." And I looked at her, Rick, and I said, "Like, what do you mean you're done? Done with what?" I was so confused. She's like, "I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. I want a divorce." That was clear.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, I started to feel all the years I was numb, dissociated, self-soothing through all these strategies that were keeping me from connection. I couldn't hide from any of it. Life got real fast.
Yep.
And so this energy started rushing through my whole body. I ended up stumbling and walking into the kitchen, shaking, and then I collapsed. Fell down onto the kitchen floor, was in the fetal position, and I was scream crying, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die." And then something happened. Like my perspective shifted in this way where I could almost see myself on the floor. And I never had any spiritual awakenings or any moments.
Right.
But if I were to define this one, it was almost as if it was. My perspective of what was actually happening for me on that kitchen floor, all of a sudden I had an insight. I looked at myself on the floor and I said, "I am an infant who just lost his mom.
Mm.
I'm terrified of that first day of my life. I'm reliving it." I had no idea up until that moment that my past was impacting my experience of life. And I just recreated my deepest fear in the world, which was finding someone to love me and then losing it.
Mm.
That shook me in such a big way. And those next 2 weeks were painful because I made a decision to not use any of the numbing agents because the truth that just got revealed, I knew somehow inside of me that it was my responsibility to own it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a baby anymore. I'm an adult, and I just recreated the story and the experience that matches the imprint that was day one.
Yep.
But now I'm an adult and now I can do something about it. But it sucked. I was so afraid inside. The thoughts that I was having made me feel crazy. All of those places I was trying to not feel, I couldn't help but feel because I wasn't going to use the pot. I got rid of my TVs, all of it. It was so scary. Rick, there was one night where I was in our bedroom. She's not there. And I'm watching these images. Some might call it the ego. For me, it's just trauma. Seeing these images of, yeah, maybe I should go and park my truck in the driveway and put the hose in the window. Just all these images of ways I should end my life. And it wasn't me. I knew that, but I couldn't get away from it. It was visible. It was palpable. There was all these impulses trying to rush through my body. And it scared the hell out of me. I'm like, I'm a monster. And then I had a moment remembering a story that Oprah told of her dark night of the soul. I'm like, this kind of feels like I'm in a dark night of the soul. So I'm just going to copy what all the personal development books talk about. Don't try to recreate success, just model the success that you see in another person. So I'm
Yep.
like, Oprah's pretty successful. Shit, I'm going to try it. I dropped down on my knees because this is what she did. I threw my arms up in the air and I just said, God, help me. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yep.
When I did that, the song that came on was Shawn Mendes, It's Not in My Blood. And it's this
Mm.
song that talks about like wanting to check out, but it's just not in his blood to end his life. He can't do it. It was the first moment I felt God speak to me directly because I couldn't make sense. How the hell did that song just come on when I asked for help?
Yep.
But then it gave me a lasting memory of something. And that is vulnerability is not weakness. Vulnerability is our greatest power because it takes courage to express and accept the vulnerability that is being human. And once I got out of my way and got out of my head and asked for help, actually to own and acknowledge I don't got it,
Right.
God was able to come in and say, well, I got you.
Yep.
And then so I felt some hope come in. I didn't want to end my life. I was like, okay, well, that was an incredible moment. I have no idea how that song just came on, but it spoke to my soul. Shawn Mendes, if I ever meet him, dude, that guy somehow saved my life. And then 2 days later, one of my buddies sent me a message and said, hey man, here's a link to a guy. He calls himself a soul coach. I think you should work with him. I was like, okay. I asked for help.
Yep.
You know, what's the saying? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yep.
So I was like,
Yep.
maybe this is the guy. I don't know. So I filled out the intake form. We had the call. The feeling that I felt with him, I can't even describe. It was, I felt safe. I felt seen. I felt that it was okay to be a mess, a puddle.
Right.
And he just loved me. Like he just offered me over presents, and it felt so good. And I just wanted to slurp it all up, and I wanted more because it's not an experience that my previous condition attracted.
Yep.
I attracted people that sent me the message that I'm unlovable, I'm a dick, like all the things.
Right.
But this
And you
guy
showed up that way too. There was you just talked about the
yes,
relationships. You showed up that way.
yes. And that's how I showed up. Yes, that's right. And this was something different. And then I remember there was a point of a decision to make. And he said, all right, well, let's work together. This feels aligned. And then he sent me how much it was going to be. And I freaked out and I called my buddy back. I'm like, this is guy insane. Like, are you kidding me? I'm not going to pay that. And he's like, dude, look at how it's been going. You trying to figure it out on your own. Just do it. And he was bold and he was direct. He said, just do it, man.
Just go do it.
And I did it. And it was the greatest decision of my life because over those next few months, he gave me a felt sense of an experience to another man, a quality of man that had been doing his work. And this is what I call shadow work. He had done his shadow work. He had gone through his initiations that life was presenting him. He integrated them and he had something I wanted. He was living a life that he was inspired by. I could feel it. I remember asking him, like, what are you doing in these sessions? And he's like, he just chuckled. He's like, Mike, it's not what I'm doing. He's like, I'm just doing what God made me to do, but I'm just being me in this relationship. And then you get to unfurl and become the man you're meant to be. That's what happens in safety. And I was like, well, you got to show me how the hell you're doing this because this feels really good and it's leading to big change in my life. And so
what I find so interesting about this, Mike, is as I'm listening to you, I'm going, okay, listeners, we've all attracted guys that aren't the right guys. We've all been in relationships where we're dicks. We've all lost relationships because we're like, why? What's wrong? You know, all of this sort of stuff. And then we retreat in the gay community. I'm not going to say everybody's this way, guys. I'm not going down the stereotype, okay? In the gay community, it's very common: drugs, alcohol, sex, all that stuff, retreating. We retreat. And then as soon as we retreat, we're like, life isn't any better. We think it is. And then something comes along, whether it's God, higher power, a moment, whatever it is, it hits. And it's so funny as you were like going, I'm going to do what Oprah did, right? I had my Oprah moment on a beach. I literally screamed at God, and I'm not a big God person these days, but I screamed at God and said, if I am not supposed to be gay, then take me out now. And I woke up the next day on the beach, water coming over me. I'm like, well, shit, I guess I'm supposed to be here. So let's go figure this out.
Nice.
There's so much of what you just shared that I hope guys that are hanging with us and listening to this has nothing to do with us being a gay guy and a straight guy. It has nothing to do with that. Mm-hmm. This is what you just said, the vulnerability piece, being willing to step into that vulnerability space with yourself, with someone else. And I'm not saying, oh, come work with Mike and I. We'd love to have you work with us, either one of us. But it's about you realizing there's nothing wrong with, as a man, as a gay man, as a straight man, saying, I need help. I need guidance. I'm not able to do this. And it has nothing whatsoever with you being unworthy at all. So what do you want to add to that, Mike?
It's one of the deepest, what you're speaking to, and it's giving me chills, because this is what took me. I'm a slow learner. Took me a lot of years to be humbled and receive the initiation life was offering me. And I received it. And there's something that I really learned. And that was that whole time I was in that marriage, it wasn't a me problem. It wasn't a her problem. It was a we problem.
Yep.
I didn't know how to do the we. How many of us are modeled really healthy relationship? Nope. How many of us are modeled, taught, shown what a thriving relationship looks like? Very few of us. I call them unicorns. Yep. There's a few of them out there. So it's, of course we can't do it. Of course we suck at relationship. Because it's an initiation we have to go through. And just like all the movies present, all the heroes, what do they have? Yep. A mentor.
Yep.
Somebody who's gone through the actual lived experience to have the wisdom to then hold space and presence and safety and guidance in all the places that are scary and insecure, so that that person can discover the truth that's inside of them, the potential that wants to be brought into their experience. That's the hero's journey. Every single human is wounded. We can't get away from that.
I also think what a missing piece here is, and I know part of your relational work and everything that you do, this relational leadership work and men's mentoring that you do, we can't go through life without these initiations. Call it what you want, but what Mike's talking about is that moment that you say, okay, I realize I'm gay. Welcome to your initiation. That moment that you say, I'm not meant to be in this relationship. There's your initiation. I'm in a moment right now. I'm no longer going to be part of an organization. That's my initiation. And Mike and I were talking about this before we got on. The number of times that I've been in this beautiful space that Mike refers to as initiation is the humbling. It's the invitation to be vulnerable. It's the invitation to say, I don't know what's next, but I need some guidance. I need some help. Whether you lean into God, those of you that lean into God, I invite you to do it. Whether you believe in a higher power, I believe in much higher powers than myself. I'm not here because of something miraculous, not because I'm just strikingly good looking. Although if you want to tell me I'm that, that's fine, guys. I'll take that, of course. So will Mike. But I think what's beautiful is when we take, oh, look at this shit that's happening. Yeah, it's shit. Ask Mike what I was telling him before I got on. Yeah, I told him it's been a shit day, man. I'm in the initiation.
Yeah.
But you can't get to what you have to get to so you can now reintegrate. All of you know me as the coming out coach, as the gay man's life coach. I do this as my side hustle. I'm being initiated into the possibility of this no longer being my side hustle. Once again, at age 62. And guess what? I'm pretty fucking excited. I'm pretty fucking scared too. But I'm in the initiation. So, Mike, when you see yourself and you see other men in this initiation phase, how do you keep people moving forward, because you've got to move forward in the initiation, or else you're stalled and you're stuck and you get angry, and then you start using and you start binging and you all the things, right? All the things you start avoiding. Actually, that's one of the biggest things. You will do everything but confront the thing that most needs to be confronted. So in your initiation work, let's get into the relational work here. What do you start to do with people?
There's three pillars that supports my entire work, and it's what I've had to live, embody, and practice time and time again. There's a sequence of events that happens for any man, and that is, life will always bring the ingredient of initiation. You don't have to go looking for it. Life's already doing it, always. Yep. Initiation. In order to become fully initiated, we have to move to the second pillar, which is integration. Yep. We have to integrate the insights, the wisdom, the gold that's gathered from an initiation, and learn how to integrate it into tangible, lived experience in the day-to-day. And then when we do that, we then pass on to the next level, which is we will have this organically emerging and arising energy of inspiration. In spirit, Wayne Dyer described it. Inspiration is in spirit. It's the part of us that is our virtue. It's the potential. We can't get to lived inspiration without taking the initiations life are presenting, moving through it, integrating it to move into that place. And so when I'm working with, men or women, predominantly men now, is the initiation part. Often there's already so many initiations that have already happened that haven't integrated. That's where we start. Mm-hmm. Another way of looking at the initiation is it's the descent into self. What's the already lived experience that you've had that you haven't integrated because of the coping strategy you developed as a little one that's still playing out, that's preventing you from growing up? Let's go back and scoop up that little guy, learn what he didn't get, learn where and who can offer those ingredients so that that part will integrate. This is what's so cool about being a human being. And this isn't gender specific. This isn't sexual preference specific. Every single one of us needs to be bonded and connected to a safe and secure place. If we do have that, our healthy blueprint, the healer that's inside of all of us, will just do what it's designed to do. Yep. Another way of looking at it is you cut yourself, what happens? It heals. Right. If you break your arm, what happens? It heals. We are designed to heal. So any of the people that are out there looking for healing, what you're looking for is safe, secure connection. Where's a place you can feel the feeling of trust so that your blueprint, your healer inside, can start to do its job? There's so many men that I sit with where they think it's about the partner. They think it's about, this thing, and like, oh, if I just change this thing, or if they could just stop feeling so emotional. It's not about that. If we go back and do the descent into the past, the body will tell the story, the untold story. The feelings will start to flow. Emotion is ir mote, energy in motion. It needs to be in motion. But so many of us, like you said, Rick, avoid, don't go those next few uncomfortable steps. So we don't get to experience what needs to move and mobilize. And so we just stay stuck, and then we attract the same person, the same dynamic. And this is where so many of you, I'm sure, can relate, like myself, still knowing this, is life will present repeating patterns to highlight, hey, I'm trying to initiate you.
Doing it again.
I'm trying to initiate you into more life so that you can bring your God-given gifts, to bring the potential you have inside of you into the world. Because this is the thing. Most of us, what we're looking for, we may disguise and confuse of money and status and all the things, but we're not wanting actually that. We're wanting the feeling it will give us. Freedom.
Yep.
freedom of choice, safety, relaxation, belonging, meaning. That's what we're actually looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And so as men, if we honor our biological nature, there's something we all have in common. Whether you're gay, whether you're straight, you have a dick.
Yep.
If we look at that, what is it designed to do biologically? Penetrate. As men, we are meant to penetrate life. And that goes, so within, so without. Our biological nature is to penetrate. If we don't honor our nature, that we are meant to go through initiation, we don't get the privilege to integrate it and be able to have the essence to penetrate life with in a way that's actually worth penetrating.
Yep.
Think of all those flings of like, it's not deep and meaningful. You don't feel seen, heard, met, and understood, but you just do it anyways. Probably is only good in the moment. And then later, maybe you feel shitty about it or it's not so great. But where there's the relationship, where there's an actual exchange back and forth, think about it. It's in the exchange of being seen, heard, and understood back and forth, which I call relational reciprocity. Where that exists, that's where you feel the richest you've ever felt, no matter how much is in your bank account.
I want to take what you just shared, Mike, because I'm going to do it in two different ways because I want to make sure this really, really, really lands. And this is why I wanted to work with Mike in this podcast, because I knew after we had our conversation, after I blew him off and said, we're not a good hookup, I knew, oh, wow, this is a really good hookup here. So guys, think about it this way. We all had that moment of initiation when, oh shit, I'm gay. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, I'm descending into my truest self here. Scared to death. Not sure how we're going to do this. Everything that everybody said, he's a sissy, he's whatever. It's oh, wow. Okay. But then there was this moment that we said, but if this is truly me, how do I want to integrate and show up in my world? How do I want to be my most integrated gay self? And as we started to adopt into that, like, okay, I'm gonna embrace this. I'm gonna be me. What starts to happen? I'm inspired. I'm joyful. Yes, I'm still scared. We haven't crossed everything yet, but there's pieces of this that start to happen where suddenly we're like, well, I get to be with my people. I get to connect. I'm not the only one. I remember the day, and the guys have heard me tell this story not in a while, walking into a gay bar with my best friend after I had come out, officially come out. I mean, I'd been out for years, playing behind the scenes, all that stuff that I wasn't proud of. That's how I was avoiding my truth, was being a cheater and all that sort of stuff. And he introduced me to several guys, and every one of those guys was a formerly married heterosexual guy, just like me, with kids. And I'm like, well, fuck, I guess I'm not alone. And it inspired me and it moved me forward. But then there's another way to look at this, guys, of where are you right now? What's showing up in your world that is the initiation? I'm losing my job. I'm being initiated right now. I have a lot of fears. But to Mike's point that he just brought up, what happened in the past? I've lost my job numerous times. The last big time that I lost my job, I became everything that everybody's witnessing on this podcast. I became a podcaster. I became a writer. I became a coach. Didn't happen immediately, but guess what? If I can integrate that stuff into my life at that job loss, guess what? I can rebuild this practice and be that voice and be that guy that I so hunger to be with other gay men. And I get really inspired when I think about it. Whatever this initiation you're going through, walking away from a bad relationship, being more yourself, stepping into your purpose. Yeah. I don't think Mike and I, either one, are going to say, oh, it's a cakewalk. It's a piece of cake. Let's go do this. But you also have all the energy, guys, to go make it happen. So as you get inspired through this, Mike, you have this 3-step process. When the inspiration hits for you, what keeps you going? Because the inspiration will come in, I'll do a little tap dance. We're all excited. And then the next thing, well, guess what now happened on this whole losing the job bit? Now this, and Mike went through this with me, and we're not going to go into detail there. How do you use the inspiration to keep feeding every time the initiation's like, it's over freaking whelming? How do you help guys see, keep the inspiration keep integrating and realize each initiation is just another way of getting where you're going. Just curious.
Yeah. Great question. The inspiration is really interesting. Just to understand the energy of inspiration is it's where life is giving us the felt sense and experience of being in our own truth and bringing it into life, penetrating life with that. That feels good. Think of the friction of penetration. It's so enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't move towards that penetration and take the risk, ask the guy out, you know, learn what he needs to open up and soften up to be able to want to go there. If we don't take the risk, if we don't bring ourselves to the relationship, we don't get the satisfaction of the friction. That's inspiration. So the motivation for me is understanding the very nature of what inspiration is. Life has given me the gold of what lives inside of me, regardless of what anyone else says or does. My work is to penetrate life with it, because there's something that's really true that I think all of you can find a moment of where this is true. When we bring ourselves to a situation or a relationship with a gift that we have or a part of us that we really love and enjoy, and it's received, it's in the it being received that feels so good and fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't have a person to receive us, then it doesn't feel good. But if there's an equal exchange of, wait a minute, you want what I got, both people get to feel really good. This is what the whole energy of inspiration is when there's alignment. And the inspiration is so interesting because what it's birthed from is the original initiation. And if we go into the depth of where this is true, is just as men, your deepest wound that you carry, the thing that you are the most afraid of people knowing, seeing, or feeling about you, is your greatest medicine to the world. Our
And
greatest wounding. Yeah.
it's so I mean, and all of you guys have felt this. I'm not gonna just let's go back to your coming out experience. Yes, some of us had really shitty coming out experiences, some of us didn't. But that moment when you finally like, okay, I'm actually being me. I'm being who I am. I know, Mike, you've taken this experience and you've done all this. And now, based on the little bits I know about, we haven't gone too deep into that. But one of the things I have observed being on your website and then watching some Instagrams and stuff, what I see is you really digging on the woman that's in your life. You really embracing and loving being a dad. I'm not sure you could have gotten there if you hadn't been initiated, integrated, and been inspired.
Yeah.
Just my take.
Yeah, it's true, because this goes to Dan Siegel's work. If we don't go through the initiations of life that we've already had and that life is always presenting, and we don't integrate it, we don't get to graduate into higher levels of health.
Yep.
When we're talking about inspiration, what we're actually talking about, if you want to bring in the science for it to make more sense, is we're looking at a very coherent brain. It's when the prefrontal cortex, also known as the wise adult, is creating coherence between all hemispheres, right and left, really getting along really well. And then that's where we get to use our lived potential as a human being, because there's coherence in our body and our brain. That is adult functioning. That is higher levels of health.
Yep.
If we're not experiencing that, that means we have unintegrated parts of our life that is our responsibility to integrate. And if we don't, we'll just keep attracting the same experience again and again. This is how what happens with trauma. It perpetuates down till somebody has a light bulb moment of, wait a minute, I don't think this is my fault, but it is my responsibility to do something about this.
Yep.
Dan Siegel speaks to it in this way. Health is determined by our ability to integrate our already lived experience.
It's a biggie.
If we don't integrate our already lived experience, we don't get to experience the fruits of higher levels of health.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if we look at that truth, then it's really hard to stay in victim. It's hard to blame it on the guy. It's hard to blame it on the pattern or the thing, because then there's a deeper knowing of shit. Life placed this in front of me. I'm wanting to give my power away and make it about them, but it's not about them. It's about what's being felt inside. And it's about like, what can I do about this? How can I transcend this? How can I get curious of why this is happening? Like, why do I keep attracting this behavior in front of me? What am I contributing to it that's leading to this outcome? That's the initiation that leads to the integration. That's then the lived inspiration. Like you named it. I love my wife. I love getting to be a father. That is a luxury that I have, that I'm now privileged to. Not that it's all the time and perfect. God, there's times where I fall asleep and I'm
her
unconscious.
and I were talking about that earlier today before I talked to you. I got her on the phone. So tell me what this guy's really all about, okay? Because he's going to be on my podcast. So I want to make sure he's not just blowing smoke up my guy's ass. So, but it is an interesting thing, because even as you're speaking through this, Mike, I'm having some moments right now internally where I'm like, I was holding some people in my world today responsible for, I just need you to say, yes, this is your next step, Rick. But now that I just had, and I'm actually having a little bit of a shiver right now in my body. They don't deserve to have to own that. I need to determine what I want to do next. Does that mean I'm not going to include my husband in conversations? No, we are a pair. We are almost 25 years doing this together. I can't not say, but what I can't do is go, you owe it to me to tell me what I have to do. Versus listening to the encouragement, versus asking me to think logically. The best thing he said to me today is, have you been outside yet? I'm like, nope. He goes, you need to get outside. I'm like, I know, but I've got too much time. He goes, you need to get outside. And then this guy, Mike, came along. I had to do a freaking podcast with him. So I haven't been outside yet, but I think this is those key critical moments. I'm being asked to show up in another way that's not uncommon for me right now. But I'm also tapping in to my wisdom of, okay, remember when we did this back in 2006, Rick? We are not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're going to invest wisely. We're going to make decisions based on how you know you can restart this whole thing. It's not a complete restart. It's just, hey, we're going back into expansion mode. I could ignore all that and then go, wait, it's not working. No, because we're not integrating what we know that we can integrate to get us through this initiation hump so that we can start to experience the really beautiful, inspiring stuff that's coming our way. Whether it's a guy, whether it's a job, whether it's your health, whether it's a breakup, whether it's, I just had a friend of mine that's like, I really want to have kids. And it's really hard getting my other half to consider even having the conversation. And it was really interesting because I had that conversation with him on Friday, Mike. And I said, it sounds like you're in a integration space right now. He goes, what does that mean? I'm like, tune in just a few weeks. You'll get the whole thing. What are you most proud of at this stage of doing what you're doing that you know has changed your life and is now having an impact? Because I want to wrap that up here and then talk about how people could work with you if they wanted to work with you, man.
The thing that I'm most proud of is that I can honestly say through every cell of my being that I am taking radical self-responsibility for the life that life gave me. Life that
you guys
I've been
hear that?
given.
I want to make sure he says that again. Radical self-responsibility.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And I'm getting chills even as I say it. And for me, I call it chills truth bumps because it's true. I've taken radical self-responsibility to fully own my lived experience of this life, to transcend any parts of me that think I'm victim to it, that anyone is to blame or at fault for what I experience inside of me. I'm the one watching it all, so I actually can't blame anyone. So I better help that relationship inside heal. Which is another way of saying that is seeing it from a higher perspective. This is the virtue that we all have inside that we are hungry for. Starving for it. The very essence, and this is a big one. The very essence of what we're looking for out there is from the place that we're witnessing from. But we get lost in what our ego thinks and the stories we tell ourselves. But if we actually sit back far enough, we can see that we're the one watching it all. That's what we're being invited to deepen time and time again. And that's what going back and integrating our already lived life does, is it creates more space to be the one observing it all so that we aren't reactive. We are responsive, which goes to the very root of responsibility. Response ability.
Yes.
It's the ability to respond. When we cultivate that through radical self-responsibility, then guess what? We have a lot more resource to offer anyone we're relating with, including life itself. You, after this call, Rick, going and connecting in with the nature, responding to the love of your life, giving you the wisdom that will bring you closer to that connection to self. When we respond in that way and we receive the gifts that are always being offered to us, we just will be living an inspired life, because then we'll remember we're not alone. So the thing I'm the most inspired by and grateful for myself is that I'm forever devoted to this work, and it'll never stop, because every layer I grow up and mature gives me that much more resource and presence to offer another person. And then the offering of that to another person that is in a different position than mine and are able to receive that, where that's helpful for them is also helpful for me, because the giving of my gift and having it received is a relational reciprocity. It's the thing where I feel like the richest man on the planet, because it's direct, real feedback of, I did go through that and now I have it to give. And it feels so good to have it received, because I know how that felt when someone gave it to me.
A huge shift. So
Huge
guys
shift.
wanted to connect with you. What's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, one of the best ways is hop in my newsletter. I've got a free gift for you. I've got a download. I'll send it to you, Rick. You put in the description.
Yeah.
Click on that. You can print off this PDF. It's masculine, feminine, essence, polarity cheat sheet. And this isn't gender specific. Every one of us has masculine, feminine inside. It's a cheat sheet that shows the qualities to help you discern what's alive, what's present, so you can find that polarity with you and your man. And so that's free. You can go print that off, and then that'll hop you in the newsletter. And that's an easy way to just get the tools, the pieces that I offer. And if you want to go deeper, go hop on in Instagram. It's Mike Elliott.relating. Elliott is ELLIOTT. And then I post content there. And then my partner Courtney and I, for those of you that want to know the realm of relationship, we have a podcast, The Sacred We, where you can go deeper there as well.
I love that. The Sacred We. I love it. And guys, I'm just going to give you, I'm going to be a little flirty here. His Instagram, he's shirtless a couple of times. I've already figured that one out too. So, it's worth the gander over there, boys. Just saying. But I love that you come from this soulful, heartfelt space. I hope you guys realize why I said yes to Mike. He touched my heart a week or so ago when we had the conversation. And I did. I was not 100% sold when I got on that call. And literally, I think within probably less than 5 minutes, Mike, you and I both felt it between the two of us. I really think we did. There was not because we were touching and feeling, but it was because I could feel the heart piece going, my God, this is a brother that can do some good in my world. Plus, I can't coach all you guys anyway. Y'all are just, there's too many of you. Okay. But I feel like what you just brought, the whole, 3-step process alone, that stepping and reeling, okay, I'm in initiation. It is a challenge. It's crazy right now, but I also have this opportunity in initiation to integrate everything I've learned, integrate anything I'm about to learn, integrate my feelings. Oh, that's a big one, guys. Integrate your feelings, what you're really feeling. Don't push them away. Don't go to Netflix, porn, OnlyFans, whatever it is. Not knocking any of those things. Go ahead, hop on Grindr, Scruff if you want to get laid for a night. Go for it. But realize this is where we're integrating maybe the wrong things versus the right things. Because once you start integrating the right stuff, the inspiration flows. And then you can walk away from that big job that's like sucking the soul out of you. You can handle going, okay, I'm losing my gig. Now what do I get to go do next? You notice I changed my tune. What do I get to go do next? I get to go be lit up and be a sassy 60-year-old gay man going, okay, bitches, come on. I'm going to help you live your life better. But Mike, I want to tell you, I so appreciate you, brother, in so many ways. And thank you for giving of your time, giving of your heart, giving a roadmap for guys to do this. And guys, go sign up for the newsletter. Download his download. We all know we have masculine and feminine. Let's be real about this. Sometimes we need to listen to the little sister in our hearts to get us to do the stuff we most need to do. And yes. Mike, thank you really, truly, brother, for being here and being part of my world and part of being an ally that says, I get you, boys. I get you. So thanks so much, man.
Oh, getting chills. Just such an honor. Thanks for having me, Rick. Such an enjoyable experience to connect with you, dive through this terrain together and feel feel the resonance. And for all of you listening, if you're still listening, thanks for trusting a straight guy to offer over some wisdom that has really helped me live the life that I enjoy. And I hope it does the same for you.
Wouldn't it be nice if we just got away from the whole straight and gay and we just trust me. Just trust me.
Totally.
Just step into presence with me. So
yeah.
All right, gang. We've delivered. Stay tuned. There's another podcast just around the corner next week. I don't have the cheat sheet in front of me because I didn't want to muddy it up with, okay, well, here's what's coming next. You just know I can't keep my mouth shut. I'm going to be talking to somebody. I'm going to be giving you some truths. Stop negotiating your life. Go start living it like you mean it, and go be the best guy you can possibly be. No fears, no excuses, and no apologies. See you in just a week, guys. Take care.